Hi guys, good morning. How are you? This is Dan. Welcome to my channel, Engelgeist. I hope you guys are doing well. I'm here to do the forecast for the end of the week, Saturday the 21st. So let's see what's going on. For those of you that are new, welcome to the channel. For those of you that are returning, welcome back. I always say that. And for those of you that subscribe over to the Patreon page, thank you so very much, especially to my new subscriber, Pat. Thank you for subscribing over there. You guys can get the daily forecast a day early. There's also other levels or tiers that you can subscribe at to have access to different sorts of readings, voting polls, things like that. So if you go over to patreon.com and look up Engelgeist 333, you can look at that and see if that's something that you would be interested in doing. It helps me because it gives me a little bit of money every month for doing all of these forecasts every day. So the forecast is like your spiritual weather report. It's supposed to be a message from Spirit for the greater collective, for the highest good. It is intended for today, Saturday the 21st, but because it is Spirit, and Spirit is very ingenious and has a wonderful way of synchronistically making things happen, I believe that this message is timeless. So if you're seeing this video in your feed or it's come up on your screen and you're watching it and it's not the 21st of March, that's okay. I believe that there might be a reason why this is showing up. There may be a message or something that applies here to you. So don't necessarily turn it off. You can watch it and maybe see if this applies to what cards come up. You might be in vibration with this reading at a different time than the 21st of March. For those of you that are my regular viewers and are paying attention and follow weekly, you know that this last Sunday's reading, which was the underpinning of the week, was kind of this really powerful, beautiful, love-centered reading. And then we went into lockdown. We went into social distancing, which is probably a time when we need more love and connection than we can understand. And so to me, as I've been reflecting back this week on that Two of Cups, that Sun card, and then ending in the Lovers, it has been really an interesting sort of thing where I think we might be actually learning new ways to support each other from further apart, right? New ways to extend our love out, either energetically, mentally, telepathically, through social media, but trying to feel those connections amongst ourselves, yet we're actually physically separated. This could be, now that I'm thinking about it, this could be tapping us in, those of us that don't necessarily feel as though we have psychic senses or utilize them. This could be the impetus for forcing us to be able to connect in that way, or to start to think fondly and create those energetic thoughts and sending them to our loved ones that are maybe out of state or far away, and touching base with some of that stuff going on. We have seen a lot of emotional cards this week. We saw the Four of Cups throughout the week. We saw the Ten of Cups yesterday. So there is a lot of emotions going on for people, both probably good and bad, and that's completely acceptable and fine. We each have to go through our process, right? And there is definitely a process happening. But what is also happening, also as I was reflecting back this morning, is that with some of these grounding stones that we're getting, things like faith, knowledge, truth, these are undeniable forms of information that for each and every one of us as individuals are invaluable. So if you're taking this time down, even though it may be scary, it may be odd, it may be out of place or different than what you're used to, it's actually supplying us with the opportunity to find our own truth, our own knowledge, our own faith. I'm sorry, the dog's asleep underneath the desk, so he's going to snore through this whole thing. So keep that in mind this week. Our beginning stone was respect. Respecting ourselves, respecting, others, respecting our environment and what's going on around us at this time, but also respecting ourselves enough to not, made me think about it later in the week. It's about respecting ourselves enough to not go over the deep end right now, to not emotionally freak out and lose our shit, to not, go into fear mode or panic mode and start to put ourselves so far in front of our neighbor or our community that we're doing more harm than we are doing ourselves good. Does that make sense? So, there was also a big focus this week on the idea of joy. Part of the reason why I'm reviewing all of these things is because I want you guys to sort of think about, okay, where did you find the joy this week? Did you find the joy this week? That was definitely a heavy message this week throughout the cards and the grounding stuff. Okay, guys, you need to all wake up. Like, everybody needs to wake up because you all just slept for 8 hours and the snoring cacophony is like a little much. So, the joy part of all of this is like, where did we find our joy? Were we able to access that joy? We were told on at least 3 separate occasions through the cards and the grounding stones to ground in the idea of joy. I know that this has been a challenge with what's kind of going on around us in the material world, but that in and of itself makes that joy all the more powerful, all the more strong, right? So hopefully you were able to achieve that. Let's see what the cards are for today. So we have the 9 of Swords. Interesting. Tomorrow, I'm going to harp on this a little bit. Tomorrow, Saturn goes into the sign of Aquarius, which is the element of air, which makes sense with this 9 of Swords. To me, this 9 of Swords feels very stable. Hold on one second. I'm going to clear everybody out. All right, all the snoring dogs, let's go to the bedroom if we're going to sleep. Come on. You guys go sleep in the bedroom. Come on. On the lane. Because I want the message to be clear this morning. Thank you. I'll be right out. Give me a few minutes. It's okay. I'll be right out. Sorry. I just feel like I'm competing with snoring bulldogs. They've been asleep all night long, and they just woke up, they've eaten, gone out, and now they're back asleep underneath the desk, sawing logs. So this 9 of Swords card, to me, Swords is the element of air, that of the intellect. This broadcast will be going on live or being, released on the 21st, which is the day that Saturn goes into it transfers from Capricorn into Aquarius, which is an air sign. Okay. I feel like this is going to be a bit of a stretch. I feel like this is some of the stretch that we're feeling right now with the changes that are happening on the planet. The 9 of Swords tends to be a sort of a painful card. It can represent nightmares. It can represent overthinking. It can represent stress. It can represent pain, right? That sort of thing, like a mental pain or anguish. I don't necessarily feel that with this card. What I feel like here is there's an opportunity. What I feel like the message here in this card is although there might be mental anguish or things that want to get under our skin or get into our thoughts and sort of wreak havoc, there's opportunities here to sort of strengthen ourselves. When I look at these 9 swords and the way that they're set up, there's kind of like this fencing happening. We have these, all of these swords built in the back, and then there's crisscrosses, and they're going through this eye. This is that same eye that we see a lot of the times in the 4 of Cups, which is hiding behind this stabilizing of our emotions, where we're able to sort of feel our emotions, go through them, and hopefully stabilize them. And that was what was going on in the earlier part of the week. I think with that stabilization of emotions and yesterday's 10 of Cups, which should be that idea of feeling good and feeling abundant, not only for ourselves, but for those around us, this 9 of Swords comes to me today saying, be mindful of where your thoughts take you. Be mindful that they don't take you to places that are detrimental, that trap you. Utilize your thoughts to be not defensive per se, but to be an asset or a strength. Utilize them to sort of protect you in the sense that we can sort of strengthen our minds and our emotional self, right? Coming in off of that 10 of Cups yesterday, we can strengthen our mind and actually utilize this card in a very good way. Part of the reason why I feel that is traditionally with the 9 of Swords, you see like a woman in a bed, like she's all in anguish, like she's having nightmares and bad dreams. This to me doesn't feel like nightmares and bad dreams. This feels like these swords, all of these thoughts are piercing through this eye and how we see things. But what I want to say about this is if we use these swords in a productive and strong, empowered manner, we have this glimmer in the eye. The eye is in the center. We see things clearly for what they are, and we have like clarity and almost, I want to say, dominion over our thoughts. That's not necessarily the traditional meaning of this card, guys, but that's what the message is that I'm feeling like is coming through with this card today. We have that option to have that dominion over our thoughts, no matter how sort of all over the board, scared, freaked out they may be. It's up to us to utilize our emotions, get centered, get in the center here, and start to look at things clearly. And then start to organize our thoughts in such a way that we strengthen ourselves, that we stay strong, and that we're able to be there for ourselves mentally, and then in turn maybe help others, right? Because ultimately nines, they signify that idea of having that abundance for ourselves in, like in the pentacles and the cups, that sort of thing. The tens are completion and the abundance like flowing out of us, out into the outside world. This 9 is about building that sort of mental strength within ourselves. I like that this is coming in while we're, Saturn, this, planet is moving into Aquarius, which is, it's a big deal. It's like Saturn is the lesson, the adulting planet. It's the planet that teaches us hard lessons, right? It's the planet that's going to educate us. And now we're coming out of Capricorn and being educated in earthly manner, earthly lessons, right? Materialism lessons, that sort of thing. To a more expansive air element, more the element of the mind, the intellect, the energy of the mind. So this card kicking off does not surprise me. I think that it's very much in line. I think that some of us may have to clean house with our thoughts and get really conscious and aware of what we're thinking and how we're thinking, and then start to organize them and not allow them to torture us, not allow them to pin us down, and start to put our clarity and our sort of foresight at the center of all of our thoughts and work from there. Like that eye to me almost appears as if it's our third eye versus, our actual vision. So we have our thoughts of our mind, but then we also have the clarity of our clairvoyance, right? So through meditation, through getting centered, through grounding, we can have sort of all of these different thoughts of what's going on in the world, but we also have to have that clarity within ourselves so that we don't torture ourselves, right? So that we don't get overwhelmed. Because there is that possibility with this card, but I also think that this card has an equal possibility of empowering us and allowing us to sort of stabilize our mind and utilize our thoughts to sort of strengthen us during this time. Okay? Let's see what the universe has our back has to say. Remember that underpinning energy too is the Lover's card, which is a very significant major arcana card. We should be experiencing that Lover's energy now and yesterday. So this is, I witness the darkness and call on the light. With my prayer, thank you, universe, for guiding me to perceive this fear through the eyes of the teacher of love. I'm going to read that one more time. I witness the darkness and call on the light with my prayer. Thank you, universe, for guiding me to perceive this fear through the eyes of the teacher of love. So the Nine of Swords, like I said, represents sort of mental torture, nightmares, fears, that sort of thing. This card to me feels like this is the antithesis of that. This is about reminding ourselves that when we have these fears or these worries, if we let them run rampant, they will sort of cloud our vision. But if we're working from a place of the teacher of love and through prayer and trusting the universe and our guides, our angels, God, we then open up our third eye or our clearer vision, and we can actually use these thoughts, or we can at least organize these thoughts in such a way that they're not quite as oppressive. Okay? We want to do that today. We want that underpinning idea of that Lover's card. That could be putting that love to ourselves. And we need to create this in this 9, right? So that we can hopefully show others and teach others how to do it for themselves. Yesterday, for those of you that are in the group, there was a meditation that I put out. I suggest doing that meditation this morning, going into the Engelgeist group and pulling that meditation up and doing it again, watching it and following it and doing it again. Because this Nine of Swords to me feels like some of you are going to be freaking out or wanting to worry. And we don't want, the universe doesn't want you to worry. This is a trying time, but it's a transition. Last night in my meditation, I was meditating and I had some really kind of profound images and things that I feel like came through. And it's, I don't really want to go too in depth with it about where I feel like it came through from or how. But the one thing that I heard very specifically was that there will be some things that are lost, but so much more will be gained. So things are shifting, guys. There's a lot of shifts happening right now. Spring equinox is happening today as I film this. Tomorrow, Saturn goes from Capricorn into Aquarius. Today that I'm filming this is 3/20/2020, which you boil that down as 3222. So numerically, there's an angel number in there of 222. We're also transferring out of the energy of Pisces, that watery, sort of intuitive, emotional energy, into the fiery dynamism and impetuousness of Aries, right? So we've got this shift of all of the earth, air, water, fire, all shifting at once right now. And so just be kind to yourself and try and be clear with yourself. As you witness the darkness, maybe either within your own world or in the world around you, call on the light with your prayer. Thank the universe for everything that you have, be in gratitude, and start to perceive these things through the eyes of love. That's that Lover's card that we saw on Sunday. I just looked at the grounding stone. I've been holding it in my fist while I'm talking, and I looked at the grounding stone, and it's relax. So this is the thought to ground in for Saturday the 21st, guys, is just relax. Allow yourself to relax and ease into all of this. I know that the tension is high right now. People are worried. People are wondering what's going on, where this is all headed. And I don't think we're going to know. What I saw in meditation last night is that it is headed to a better place. It might have to get a little bit worse before it gets better, but there are things that are shifting and changing that need to take place. And so today, think about relaxing your thoughts, think about relaxing your heart, think about relaxing your mind. Call in that energy or that prayer to be able to see everything through the eyes of the teacher of love. That's that Lover's card. You can do it. I love you all. Thank you for tuning in. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them on the business page or the YouTube page. Please like, share, comment, subscribe. It all helps me to build the channel. I will see you guys tomorrow for the weekly, for the Sunday forecast that underpins next week. It'll be interesting to see what happens as we move forward. All right, you guys, have a great day, and I will see you soon. All right, take care. Bye-bye.